Our next derivatives that we're going to be talking about are actually inverses of derivatives we already know. So we're going to talk pretty quickly about derivatives of inverses. So if you remember this from Math 3 or your 1050, 1060, one of the cool things that we were able to do is prove if two functions were inverses of each other. And the way that we did that is we knew that if we did the composition of the two functions, they should cancel each other out and take us back to x. And that works in both situations here. If we plug g of x into f or f of x into g. They're still inverse functions, so they take us back to our original x. So we're going to use this idea to be able to find the slope of inverse functions. For example here, if we know that f of 1 equals negative 2, f prime of 1 equals 4, and I want to know what does g prime of negative 2 equal. Well, for starters, we're given the information that f of x and g of x are inverses of each other. So because they're inverses, we have this relationship. So since I'm solving for g prime, I am going to use this setup here. F of g of x equals x. Since I'm looking for g prime, that means I'm looking for slope or derivative. So I'm going to take the derivative of this function. So using chain rule, I'm going to have f prime of g of x times g prime of x equals 1. So chain rule, derivative of the outside, keep the inside, multiply by the derivative of the inside, and then the derivative of x is 1. So I'm going to plug in negative 2. So that's f prime of g of negative 2 times g prime of negative 2 equals 1. Well, I'm trying to solve for g prime of negative 2, and it's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate that, get it by itself. So that means I'm going to divide by f prime of g of negative 2. So I see here g prime of negative 2 equals 1 over f prime of g of negative 2. So one thing we remember about inverses is our x and y values actually switch positions. Our inputs become outputs, outputs become inputs. So here, if I need to know what g of negative 2 is, that comes from this first given information. If f of 1 equals negative 2, then g of negative 2 equals 1. So I can now make that substitution. G prime of negative 2 equals 1 over f prime of 1. This relationship is going to hold true anytime and all the time. So that's kind of a cool fact to see. And here, we know that f prime of 1 equals 4. So g prime at negative 2 is 1/4. It's just a cool relationship to kind of see how that works together. So we're going to keep that and we're going to go forward and practice it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck.